Hi, my name is Talis Yadatin, and I'm going to present the topic, How does ozone protect life on Earth from ultraviolet light? And today I have a participant to just help with a perspective on my presentation. She's just going to be here to advise or ask questions and observe my presentation.
Hi, I'm Tala's friend.
So let's get started. So what is ozone? Ozone, which is also known as O3, trioxygen, is a highly reactive gas composed of three oxygen atoms. Trioxygen is referred as an allotrope. This is a term that we've previously learned in class, and it's defined as the different structural forms of a single chemical element. An allotrope results from the different ways atoms can bond with one another. As you can see in this picture, a few things to know about O3. It's usually or mostly in the stratosphere, and that's something I'm going to highlight later. It's a type of atmosphere. And some of it is on the ground, which is not a good thing because it's a pollutant. But what we're going to focus on is the positive aspects of O3, which are only in the stratosphere. It can also be used for bleaching, disinfection, and deodorizing on the ground. So it's used to make many organic chemicals. It's a powerful oxidizer, has a pungent odor, and like oxygen, O2, it's just they all have a bent structure. It's a pale blue gas and a deep blue liquid and a violet solid. So let's get started on the history of where ozone came from. So in 1785, Dutch chemist Martinus van Marum noticed a strange smell from generating electrical sparks above water. While Van Marum realized the odor came from a chemical reaction, he did not understand its source. Then comes German-Swiss chemist Christian Friedrich Schonbein, and he repeated Van Marum's experiment and realized the odor was identical to the smell in the air after a lightning strike. In 1839, he successfully isolated the gas from air and named it ozone. This name comes from the Greek word ozone, which means to smell. Later on in 1865, Jacques-Louis Surette made the chemical formula for ozone, as you can see in this picture. And typically we see O2, which has two bonds, and as you can see, this is O3, three bonds. So right here is the Earth's atmosphere. This picture just shows where the ozone layer would be placed within the atmospheres. As you can see, it's in the bottom of the stratosphere. And the ozone layer is just present in the very bottom as it absorbs all the ultraviolet radiations and doesn't allow them to reach the Earth's surface, which I'll talk about how it protects all living organisms from harmful effects of UV radiation and maintains the natural layer of oxygen and ozone. So what is ultraviolet radiation? Ultraviolet radiation, also known as UV, is a form of electromagnetic radiation that comes from the sun and man-made sources like tanning beds and welding torches. Radiation is the emission, the part that sends out energy from any source. So there's many types of radiation ranging from very high energy, which is considered high frequency. They have a direct relationship. That's the type of radiation from high energy radiation to very low energy radiation, which is also low frequency. Some examples of high frequency, high energy radiation would be what is harming us, like UV light and gamma rays and X rays, while low energy, low frequency radiations would be like microwaves and infrared lights, things that don't harm us. So UV rays are in the middle of the spectrum, mostly. They have more energy than visible light, but not as much as X rays. The dangers of UV light. There's many types of UV rays based on how much energy they have. So higher energy UV rays are a form of ionizing radiation. This is an important term because it means that there's enough energy to remove an electron from an atom or a molecule, meaning it can literally damage our cells, our DNA. It can break the bonds in our cells and destroy matter, as in, not matter, sorry, destroy our cells. So, ionize is a term that we referred to previously in our lectures, and basically it just means to remove an electron from an atom or a molecule. But even the highest energy UV rays don't have enough energy to penetrate deeply into the body, so their main effect is really on the skin, which is why you hear a lot about UV rays from the sun and protecting ourselves with like normal skin protectants. So here is the electromagnetic spectrum. This would probably help clarify what I was talking about with high frequencies and low frequencies, which I said have a direct relationship to high energies and low energies. So as you can see on the left side, this is the harmful side. I was talking about the UV lights, X-rays and ultraviolet rays have the highest energy and highest frequencies. As you go towards the left side, it just gets higher. And as you go to the right side, or towards the right side, it gets lower, the frequency and energy. What we can visibly see is in the middle, and what doesn't harm us is anything to the right side of the wavelength 400 nanometers. So here is a pretty good visualization of picturing the atmospheres combined with the electromagnetic spectrum. So as you saw in the electromagnetic spectrum, there was the gamma rays, the X-rays, and the ultraviolet rays on the left side, the harmful side. And then in between the visible light, and on the right side, infrared, microwave, and radio, basically longer waves that don't affect us as much, are not harmful as much. And as you can see, the ozone layer is just 20 to 30 kilometers above the Earth's surface level. So that's in the bottom of the stratosphere. And that's showing us how it's protecting and dividing us between the ultraviolet rays and the Earth. So how does the ozone layer protect us? The ozone layer in the stratosphere absorbs a portion of the radiation from the sun, preventing it from reaching the planet's surface. Most importantly, it absorbs a portion of UV light, called UVB. UVB has been linked to many harmful effects, including skin cancers, cataracts, and harmful to some crops and marine life. So you can imagine how bad it would be not to have an ozone layer. How does the ozone connect to ultraviolet radiation? So when an ozone molecule absorbs UV, it comes apart into an oxygen molecule, O2, and a separate oxygen atom, O, singular. Later, the two components can refer to the ozone molecule, which is O3. So by absorbing ultraviolet radiation in the stratosphere, the ozone layer prevents any harmful levels of this radiation from reaching Earth's surface. As you can see in this picture, the ozone molecule, which is basically O3, trioxygen, is combined with ultraviolet rays and forms in the separation of the trioxygen, which is oxygen, O2, and just a single atom of oxygen. So UV radiation gets into the Earth's atmosphere where ozone is concentrated, and these UV rays will interact with ozone and then split into some O3 molecules of O2 and a single atom of oxygen, which I just explained. So, like I mentioned, just imagining how bad it would be to not even have an ozone layer or just a depletion of ozone layer is just, you couldn't you couldn't have any life. There wouldn't be any source of life, as all ecosystems would be harmed. Um, Even ozone depletion itself would harm all our food production, all our organisms, everything living on Earth, any animal, anything that would help within our ecosystem that provides us with clean air and water and takes all the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere for us to live in. So lastly, relevance to class. These are a few terms and formulas I use throughout my references. Like I mentioned, allotrope, the electromagnetic spectrum, energy, ionization, radiation, and that formula that I mentioned, of the O3, the trioxygen, which is ozone, is this is the geometric and molecular structure of it. Then I mentioned the frequencies and as well as the bonds in these pictures. So let me know if you have any questions or if you'd like me to review anything. Are you good?
I'm good. You went
Yeah.
through everything very well, and I understood everything. Um, so far I understand like the relationships and the reason why the ozone layer is very important to the earth and our living. So thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Oh God. Oh my God, why isn't it? Okay.